Okay, in this video, we are going to be talking about the rectangular pattern tool. We're going to look at it in both the sketching and design environments. So, going back to one of my favorite examples, and that's the Lego brick. That's what you're seeing on the screen. Let's start off with a new canvas. We're going to start off with the sketch environment. Let's create a sketch, top, bottom, plane. One of these days, I'm going to actually research how to fix it so it doesn't open upside down every time. All right, 2-point rectangle. First click origin. We're going to come out and to the right, we're going to set the width at 32 millimeters. Tab, the height is going to be 16 millimeters. Let's finish sketch. Home position. And let's extrude this by 9.6 millimeters. All right, we got our base block in place. We'll practice there. Let's create a sketch on the top surface of our block. And in this particular case, we're going to add a circle. We're going to position that circle. The circle will be a center diameter circle, 5 millimeters in diameter. We'll position it 4 millimeters from the top edge and 4 millimeters from the center of that circle, 4 millimeters from the left edge. We'll have our circle in place, then we'll pattern that circle. Finish our sketch, and we'll extrude and fillet all of our circles that we create in the pattern. So let's create sketch. Top surface, and then I have to roll it over again. Center diameter circle. I'm just going to stick it somewhere up here. Anywhere is fine because we're going to use the positioning tool, 5 millimeters in diameter. Enter. Sketch dimension tool. Center point of my circle, click. Left edge, click. Come up, set it to 4 millimeters, enter. Now to the top edge, so the center of my circle, top edge. Come out horizontally, click, 4 millimeters, enter. My first circle is complete. Escape out of the sketch dimension tool. Now, there is no way in this world that I want to go and draw 7 more circles for a Lego brick with 8 connectors on the top and position all of those. Let's start off with some parameters. My connectors, center point to center point, will always have a distance of 8 millimeters. Okay, I'm going to have 4 in a row. So 4 in a row, the rows running the length of the brick. And I'm going to have 2 rows of 4. So when I do my rectangular pattern, I'm going to start off with a row in my options. Now, I've got 4 pins in a row, 8 millimeters apart. The distance on my rectangular pattern is going to be 24 millimeters. How did I get that? Well, distance from pin 1 to pin 2, 8 millimeters. Pin 2 to pin 3, 8 millimeters again, so I've got 16. And then from pin 3 to pin 4 is another 8 millimeters, taking me up to 24 millimeters. 3 gaps of 8 for a total of 24 millimeters. So the measurement is from the center point of my first circle to the center point of my last circle. Let's go ahead and start. Create rectangular pattern. Here's my palette for the rectangular pattern. The object I want to pattern is my first selection. That is my circle, the edge of my circle, not the center. I don't want to copy the center point. So there's the edge of my circle. All right, now I'm going to grab the blue arrow. I'm going to start moving it back to the right. So in this case, I'm moving a negative direction. I want 4 circles. So I put 4 in. I've already told you I want 24 millimeters. So it's a negative 24. So the distance from the center point here to the center point of my last circle is 24 millimeters. I just went through that. There's 1 gap of 8, 2 gaps of 8, 3. So 8 times 3 is 24. Now, I want 2 rows. So I'm going to grab this arrow and drag it down. I'm going to change my quantity from 3 to 2. Center point of the first row to center point of the second row is 8 millimeters. So 1 gap, my distance is 8. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to, there's my 2 rows of 4, and they're all positioned correctly. I'm going to finish sketch. Home position. I'm going to extrude all of my circles now. So let's extrude. Let's select all of these circles. I'm going to extrude them by 1.7 millimeters. Okay. Join is fine. Click OK. Now, my edges should be filleted. So let's do this. Let's go fillet. Now, do I want to go select every one of these edges to fillet? Notice over here in my window, it says on my selection, I can select edges, faces, or features. Features, where am I going to find the feature? The feature will be down in the timeline where I select that extrude that I just did to extrude the 8 pins. But let's go ahead and select the edge on the first pin. Now, I'm going to go down to the timeline, and I'm going to select the extrude I just did, which, as we've talked about in class, that's going to be referenced as a feature. So there's my extrude. And I'm going to select or set my fillet to be 0.1 millimeters. And I'm going to click OK. So all of my edges within that feature got the fillet. Okay. That is the sketch mode rectangular pattern. I'm going to create a new or open a new canvas. We're going to do the same thing. Let's create a sketch, top, bottom plane. And let's start off with our rectangle again and extrude it. So a 2-point rectangle. Origin, click. Up, 32, tab 16. Enter. Finish sketch. Extrude it. 9.6 millimeters. Home position. I'm not in the box. Let's try it again. Click OK. Let's create a sketch on the top surface. And draw our circle, 5 millimeters in diameter. Enter. Let's position it. Center of the circle. So sketch dimension tool, center of the circle, left edge. There, I hit it, 4 millimeters. Now to the top. Center of the circle, top edge. I've done this project one too many times, I believe. Positioned it perfectly on the drawing. All right, so I've got one circle in place. Now I'm not going to do the rectangular pattern here. Okay, I'm going to finish sketch and extrude my one circle. Home position. Let's extrude it. 1.7 millimeters. Join is okay. Click OK. I'm going to add a fillet. 0.1 millimeters. Click OK. So now I have two features down here in my timeline. There's my extrude of the top connector, and there's the fillet of that top connector, pin, whatever you want to call it. Fine by me. Now I'm going to pattern this in the design mode or design environment. Let's go create, pattern, rectangular pattern. My object type gives me options here. I can pattern a body. I did not create a new body when I created that pin. I could pattern a face. I could pattern a component, but what we're going to do is pattern features. All right, so there, we're going to pattern features. So I'm going to select those features. Once again, I'm going to the timeline to select those features. Right here's my extrusion, but I also want to pattern the fillet. There's my fillet. Okay. The axis, I'm going to select here on that long line. Now I've got my arrows. I'm going to drag 24 millimeters, tab 4. There we are. Grab my other arrow. There we are. 2. Set the distance to 8. And there we are. Click OK. I'm not getting into the long discussion at the moment on why I would use one or the other in this particular case. When we go through and do the parametric design on our Lego brick, I am going to use the design mode and select my two features. It would work in the sketch mode as well, based upon the example I gave you. But we have now demonstrated the two different rectangular patterns in both design and sketching environments. That's all for now, and I'll see you in the next video. If I can get my mouse over to that screen. There we go.